content creator, marketer, or copywriter and you've been hearing about the new ChatGPT agent mode, but you're not quite sure what it actually does, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'll share with you what ChatGPT agent mode is, how it works, I'll give you some use cases you can try, and most importantly, I'll talk about the limitations and risks associated with using ChatGPT agent mode. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get this video started. So what is the ChatGPT agent mode? The basic way you use ChatGPT, which you're probably used to, is you ask it one-off questions and then you get some output, like this. If you need more, you then ask follow-up questions and you get some more output, like this. But the agent mode is different. It's about giving ChatGPT a mission to complete. It will use your instructions to work autonomously across different tools, websites, and take multiple steps until it completes the mission. So the difference between the two is that the basic mode generates content like text, images, and so on. It's more like a conversation. The agent mode can do all that, but it can also take action. And that is the fundamental difference. So let's start from the beginning. So it's the end of July 2025 at the time of making this video. And my understanding is that the feature is still being rolled out, so not every paid user seems to have access to it. On my account, and I've got ChatGPT Plus, I do have access and it currently says there's a limit of 40 users. So I'm going to click Agent Mode here, and then I'm going to define the mission. The principles of prompting here are the same as what you normally do in ChatGPT. So if you're not sure how to do that, then check out my video about how to write great ChatGPT prompts. But let's use a basic example to illustrate how the ChatGPT agent mode works. So my prompt is this. I'm organizing a work away day for a team of 20 in London on the 15th of October 2025. I need a conference room that is good for both lectures, group workshops at tables, and networking whilst standing up. It needs to provide refreshments and stationery and be situated in a modern office building with great facilities in a safe part of London. It needs to be within a 30-minute walk or a 15-minute taxi ride from King's Cross Station. Book me a room that meets these specifications. So as you can see, the prompt here is a little bit different to what you're normally used to when you're just using ChatGPT to generate content. This prompt includes detailed step-by-step instructions with lots of different requirements. It specifies what you're looking for, in what part of London, what it needs to include, how many people, and when the event is happening. And most importantly, it is also asking ChatGPT to actually make the booking. So let's see what happens when I enter this prompt. So what's happening now is we are looking at what the agent is doing. So it's opened a virtual desktop where it's able to look through websites, open tabs, read text, read images, and also interact with the websites. So it's able to do things like filter results and check boxes, choose dates, and click buttons. So that is essentially how it takes action. So you can see it's looked through the different requirements to see if it meets the criteria I specified in the brief. It's opened the booking form. So you can see that it's actually struggling with this website. So it's gone back to the tab where it's actually searching for venues and it's opening another venue. So it's found a website where there's information about the rooms they've got available, but they haven't got a booking form. So it's gone to a different website now and it's opening another booking form, and it is also explaining exactly what it's doing. So the good thing is you can kind of step away, make a cup of tea, and then look through the different steps that the agent took, because you can replay this. So what we're looking at now is the live actions that it's performing, but you can then kind of rewind it and see what is done step by step. The page is loading. There are some restrictions. So as you can see, it's not able to open some of the websites. So that's why the process is taking a bit longer than expected. This is obviously new technology and I'm sure it will evolve. But for the moment, it looks like this is something that you might want to be doing yourself and you might be able to do it much more quickly. The initial part of the research was quite useful. It's found some examples of venues that meet the specific criteria, but it is struggling a little bit with the booking form. So when it gets to the end of this process, obviously what it would do ideally is complete the mission by actually doing the booking. But what would happen at the end is it would ask you for your credit card information so that you can actually pay for the venue. And that's slightly problematic at the moment. It's not something I would personally do, and the risks associated with this have been discussed before. So let's see how this technology evolves. But for the moment, the potential is there, and I think it's quite useful to experiment with this, even if it's just to execute the initial parts of the process. So researching venues, identifying suitable venues, and then maybe doing some of the follow-up actions yourself, such as booking and paying for the room. So let's move on to the next use case, which is about content creation. And if you're a marketer, a content creator, or you work in communications, then I'm sure you produce a lot of content, and you may already know how to do that really well using ChatGPT or another AI tool. If not, then check out my other video, which is about getting started with writing with ChatGPT. Often creating good content involves a lot of research. You may need to look through multiple sources of data to identify some insights and trends and to analyze them. One of my businesses is I make online courses for language learners. And I make YouTube content around that too. So let's see if the agent mode can actually help me with my content workflow. So my prompt is going to be this: identify 3 high-performing YouTube videos about English phrasal verbs in terms of views and comments published in the past year. Go through the comments on each video and identify 5 most common questions or themes that people are curious or confused about. Then create a presentation addressing those questions in Google Slides. So again, I've got a multi-step process that I want ChatGPT Agent to go through. So I'm not asking it to just generate some content. I'm asking it to go to multiple YouTube videos, open the comments, look through the comments, identify some themes, put it together and put it into a slide deck. So let's see what happens when I enter this prompt. And so it's opened up the desktop. We can actually see which videos it is searching for. It's doing a similar process to what I would actually do in this situation. And it's actually going to interact with YouTube. So it's opened one of the channels that it will be looking at. Now it's gone to YouTube search to search for the keyword that was included in my brief, and it's going to use the filters. So it's got the ability to actually press the buttons and choose the right filters. So it's just looking at videos published in the last year. So now it's checking the view count for the individual videos just to identify the ones that are highest performing in terms of views. So this process itself is actually taking quite a bit of time. You could have it running in the background, which obviously would save you time because you're not actually doing it yourself. So now it's actually on the video page and it's scrolling through the comments. So it is now reading and analyzing the comments, and it is actually telling me exactly the aspects that people are confused about. So that is the most important thing that I was actually looking for, and I can see that it's actually doing what I wanted to happen. So that's really powerful. So obviously at the end of this process, what I asked for is that the results of this search are put into a Google slide deck, and obviously the agent would ask me to log into my Google account to do that. I am not going to do that because of security concerns. But again, even if I stop it there and if I just take the insights it's found me it is incredibly useful. And I can use that to create a slide deck separately. I could just navigate back to the basic mode of ChatGPT and use the output I got from the agent to then create the slides, or I could do that manually myself. So in both of these examples, we're not just sourcing information or creating content. We're doing more than that. We're looking through multiple sources of data to identify specific information that meets our requirements. And to do that, we would normally need to perform multiple manual actions in order to get to that information. So the agent mode is potentially quite useful here. And as you can see, it did run into some difficulties. There were some websites that it wasn't able to open, and it did take quite a bit of time. But the potential is there.